Welcome to Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks. Hey, welcome, Jeff. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to another fun edition of Treasure Talk.
It will be tonight, that's for certain.
Yes, we have an outstanding guest, always one of my favorites. So I guess I better get started real quick and let me go through the spiel here. Today's show, of course, is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where we not only sell fun, but we sell adventure. And the views, thoughts, opinions expressed by Treasure Talk members and guests belong solely to the guests and members and not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Moran. And, of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of treasure hunting and metal detecting and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner. And that's our goal, and we try to do that every week. So hopefully we'll do that tonight.
Well, I think we will. Like I said earlier, we may have to, change the name of the guest a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit later, but, it could happen. You never can tell.
Yes, if he's up there finding the Viking copper, for sure.
Well, they found it, that's for sure. And so I think we're going to change his name to Ragnar or something.
Ragnar, for sure.
That's right, Ragnar. That's right. We just start calling him the Viking. What do you know?
The Viking. Well, he's up there in Viking country. I've always said that they were there, and it looks like what I thought was right, and because it's getting proven daily. It seems like, anyway.
Yeah, it seems so. But he's quite the legend, I think.
Yes, he is. And he's written quite a few books. And aren't we going to give some books out tonight too, Jeff?
Yep, we are. We're giving away 3.
And for those of you who don't win tonight, you can, of course, call me or go on my website or come in the shop. And Terry usually signs those for me because I know when I get a book from somebody, I always like to have the author sign it. So it just means more to you. So we've got them.
Well, what you have to do, Phil, you have to go on YouTube and you have to look up Liam Lutz Hamilton, his YouTube channel. He's the young man that won the Nocta Macro Legend.
Awesome.
And he did an unboxing and he said thank you to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Liam. I'm glad you like it. Hopefully you're on here tonight and you get out there and find some treasures with it.
Well, it's still in the frozen tundra of the north, so
but kids will be out there. They'll be out there scratching the frozen ground with a new detector.
Yeah, he'll get there. It's supposed to start thawing up there. So, well, we probably better get going here, hadn't we?
Yes, we better bring on our guests for sure.
Yes, indeedy. We got a bunch of people waiting very anxiously for Ragnar to come on. Everybody, this man is a legend. He is the legend of the Treasure Coast, soon to be, and he is also a legend in Chazy, Minnesota. But he's also soon to be a Viking legend because we're going to change his name to Ragnar because of some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. So let's bring on one of our favorite people in the world, Terry Ragnar Shannon. Hey, Ragnar.
Hey, welcome, Terry. Welcome to Treasure Talk.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. And just for your information, Jeff, I had a career in law enforcement, and I've been called many, many things, but never Ragnar.
Well, we could call him Bjorn.
Yeah.
Come up with a good Viking name before the end of the show, I'm sure. Somebody on the show will come up with a perfect Viking name for Terry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the new book, let's chat about that before the questions start rolling in. What is the name of the new book? If you got it there, hold it up.
I've got a picture of the cover.
The cover.
It's going to be Surf to Turf.
Surf to
Can
turf.
you see that? Is it?
Yep, we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Good looking guy in the front there, you know.
Always. Always.
It's fun. I enjoy doing this so much. Everybody tells me I'm a storyteller, and I am, you know. And writing the books is kind of like telling the story. And this one is Surf to Surf, and it, you know, it talks about a lot of different adventures and gives quite a few tips on beach hunting down here in the Treasure Coast. And then this year I had surgery on my knee, and I was kind of laid up and really couldn't get into the river, and so I got tied up in a bunch of cellar holes, the old cellar holes, and just had a ball. And of course, then graduated, was up a few times to hunt with the Minnesota Beach Boys, and they've got a heck of a story to tell. You know, this goes back to the copper culture, and goes way back to, you know, people that were visiting our shores way before Christ, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, they were
absolutely.
Vikings, I think.
Yes, I think they were here. Maybe the Romans, I don't know, but I know the Vikings always heard they were here and always believed that. So, because they were here getting all the copper over there. And I think some of the documentaries on TV show they can tell where the copper came from. And they'll find copper over in Europe that's from that area, and they think it's that time period. So, hasn't been proven quite 100% yet, but it'll happen.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's been pretty close to being proven, Phil.
Yes, it's closer every day.
Yeah, the History Channel did quite an article on it. I listened to it. In 2000 BC, about one, for a couple hundred or 1,000 years there was a real powerful tribe up there. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they're the ones that they said came over and harvested the copper out of Isle Royal. And the copper up in northern Minnesota is so pure, it doesn't have to be refined. They can just actually pound it into shape. And what happened is they have discovered one of these sunken ships from the Meoans, or I'm not pronouncing it right. And anyway, it was filled with copper, and they have matched that copper to be identical to the copper that came from Isle Royal on Lake Michigan. So that's pretty good proof that it happened. And going back to the Vikings, I guess, down in Minnesota and that stuff, we have what they call these rune stones, and there's always been rumors of the Vikings visiting our shore. So I really think this happened, and it's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. So now, how about the coins you found there?
Okay, there's one area that there used to be, a trading post, and it was an area that they figured that the traders and trappers, visited a lot. And I was up there. I found what's called a jingle. It's an ornament that the natives wore on their dress when they had their ceremonies and stuff, and a very, very old, really ornate silver ring that I think goes way back to the trapping days. But Matthew Carpenter, that's Alan's son, he found this coin. It's a shekel. And if it had a date on it, it would be dated from 124 BC to 54 AD. And they say the shekel is the exact same coin, what they gave to Judas when he betrayed Jesus. And that was found in a pile of copper. And it has a hole in it. I've got a couple pictures of it. They're in my phone. I don't know if that would work or not. But and so that's kind of proof positive to me that they were there well before. They said they went in through Nova Scotia and come in overland, but been a lot more rivers back then too.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting that they could come there, mine it, and take it back to Europe. That's really cool. So, what type of pieces of copper did you find? Was it just raw copper?
Alan has done the best. He's got a bunch of spear points. He's got some ornamental copper that they wore for jewelry. He's got a knife, kind of a knife. And he's got quite a bit of copper. I went up with him. I was up there last year, and we went out on this big lake. And we had never been there before. But it was a tip that we thought this would be a place to investigate. And Alan goes out, and his very first signal that he got was a copper spear point. and I'm kind of close to him. We're out about waist deep water now, and he's right out there to his neck. And I said, "What'd you find, Alan?" He said, "I found something that you really want. They found it, but I haven't yet. I tell in my book that this is a venture that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. I'm going to find something. And that's exciting. Down here in the Treasure Coast, we're finding coins 300 years old, and I got one coin that's from the 1500s. That's 500 years old, and that's pretty good. But if I find some of these spear points, we're talking, 2,000 years old.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool that you find stuff that old here in the U.S. That's like unheard of, isn't it, Jeff?
Oh yeah, yeah. I just got notified from our contact in England from our England hunt that he's ready for me to send him some money so he can send all my goodies over to me.
Oh, nice. And you'll
Yeah.
have to make sure we put that on the show so people can see what you find.
Yeah, that's we talk about this sometimes, Terry. That over here, if you found one from the 1500s, and you say, "Man, that is old, old, old," but over there, 1600s is common. Just put it in your pouch. That's 1200s, 1100s. 900s, all that. That's what they look for, and it's 1600s, 1500s is fairly commonplace over there. So you really get spoiled over there.
I bet I've never been over there. I've been over there, but it was in the military long before I even knew what a metal detector was. But did you get some pretty good stuff, Jeff?
Yeah, I didn't get too. I got some pretty good stuff. Yeah, I smuggled one piece back. I don't know where it's at. I didn't smuggle it on purpose.
It was a
Well, maybe I did, but I didn't.
it was a badge or
Yeah, it is. Here. It is. This is from the 1600s. I don't know if anybody can see it. That is a carriage badge, a carriage plate that they used to put on their carriages.
It's
It had
really
somebody's
neat.
name on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
it's interesting. You can date those type of artifacts. That's really
Oh, yeah.
really
Well, they knew right away what time, what it was. And when we were over there, they said, "Don't throw anything away. Whatever you do, until we look at it." And the Mumbles man was over there with me, and Dan Graham from Grammar Time was there, and all of us had stuff that we said we were fixing to throw it away. Then we thought, well, maybe we better not, and it was probably a good thing that we didn't, because it said, "Oh yeah, that's that." So it's probably the same thing up there in Minnesota when you guys are up there hunting for copper points and stuff like that, because you never know what it's going to be.
It's an amazing area. You can find a brand new diamond ring that was bought, maybe just lost a month or so ago, because there's a lot of boating and activity out there. Then you've got the old trader posts, traders and trappers. You can find stuff in that area, and then you go all the way back to Jesus time, and it's exciting. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to find. I know,
Well, like you said, Terry, if they came across Nova Scotia, they might have stopped and made a deposit on Oak Island. You never know.
yeah, that could happen. That very well could happen.
well,
No,
we'll never know, because it seems like that show has been going on forever, and I'm waiting to see some gold, and just hasn't happened yet.
Well, they left all the wood on Oak Island.
Oh yeah, they dug a deep pit and put the wood in it and hid that. Yes.
I had company today, and one of the questions they asked me, they started talking about Oak Island, and I said, it pains me to admit this, but I've never seen a program. I'm not much of a television, and I've never tuned into any of them, but I'm sure it's exciting and they do well.
Yeah, it's one of that channel's most popular shows. So that's why I tune into it once in a while. Jocelyn doesn't like it because they never find that the big chunk of gold. So
I tell you what happened. They interviewed me. In fact, they paid me for the interview, and I went over there and was interviewed. I brought a bunch of Spanish stuff, and and one thing that I did bring is I brought my wife's ring box, She's got a box that holds 70 rings. She's got over 100 in it, and she gets first choice. So, I mean, she's got some remarkable jewelry. So one of the last issues on this O'Connell, her ring box was on the Discovery Channel. So my wife has a very famous ring box. I think I'm on the cutting house floor, or I'm going to be on later. But
Nice.
I was interviewed on it.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those rings in her ring box.
I keep telling Jean that she's such a lucky gal to have me, and she doesn't argue. At least I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you come home from the beach, she says, "What'd you find me?"
Yeah. Well, I found a ring the other day, and she showed it to her. I kind of just threw it in her lap, and she said, "What? No diamonds?" She's a wonderful lady. We've been married 62 years, going on 63 now, and I've been very blessed. Really lucky.
She is indeed a wonderful woman. I'll guarantee that.
Yeah, I think we've all done real well.
So Terry, let me ask you a couple questions. Now, when you're down here hunting on the Treasure Coast, which detector are you currently using?
I've been using the Equinox, and I would like to try the new one that's come out, the
Deus?
Legend.
The Legend?
Deus, I have to have the Deus. I really do. I haven't got one yet, but I'm going to have to get one. I had a Deus this year or last year back home, and that's what I used out at the trading post. I used that at the old cellar holes, and I used that, up north when we were looking for the copper stuff. And I also use it down in Iowa when we were down in Enterprise, Iowa, detecting down there with the Beach Boys. And we started so early up down there that one day, myself, Al, and Jim, all three of our detectors went dead. We were out there so long that we had to, they all went dead on us. And that Deus is a heck of a machine. I mean, when I got it back, or when I got it and went out to the trading post, and I had been detecting that trading post. I've got an exclusive, it's a Red River Oxcart trading post. And the farmers out there are good friends of mine, and they're just wonderful people. And I've kind of got an exclusive. Nobody else ever goes out there. And, so I've been out there time and time again. It's just a wonderful place. And then I went out there with the Deus, and it was brand new. I mean, I'm digging and digging and digging. It made a big, huge difference.
Now, wait till you get that Deus too, Terry. I'm going to tell you, it'll light you up. That thing is, and I'm a Deus user. I'm just absolutely amazed by it. And I've only had it out for, 2 or 3 hours so far. I just hadn't had the opportunity. Now this week we're going to hunt some. The Mumbles man's coming up, and then John David's coming over, and we're going to go hunt an 1840s farm if we can do it between the raindrops. But the good thing about the Deus 2 is it being waterproof. And the thing you're really going to like, Terry, when you get it, is those bone conductive headphones.
I've heard about them. I have been blessed with a lot of friends, and of course, most of them share the same interests I do. And I've gotten several reports on the new Deus too, and every one of them been very positive, very, very positive. So, and I did get a new hookah unit. I have a hookah unit. I'm going to be doing a lot of diving in those Minnesota lakes up there. And I need an underwater machine. Right now I don't have one that I'm real happy with. I won't dive with the Equinox. I just don't trust the waterproof part of
it. Yeah. Well, once you see that Deus 2, you're going to know that it is built to last.
Well,
it's an amazing machine.
To the detectors, but I'm seeing some questions on Facebook. Tom Becker's asking, did the copper points come out of the water corroded, or you dig them on land?
Okay, both. I have not found any yet. I got to tell you, this is, Alan from the Minnesota Beach Boys has done very well. When I was with him, the one that he pulled out of the water come out looking like somebody just shined it up. It was just like it was brand new. But the other ones, they come out, with a green color and they're cold. But the ones in the water, I don't know if it's that hard water up in Minnesota or what it is, but they're not the green as normal copper would be. But that I've seen anyway.
Yeah. Well, somebody's asking me what's a good price for a Deus 2. Just give me a ring tomorrow, but we don't have any Deus 2s in stock, but you can call me 813-237-1939. That was another question off of Facebook. Jocelyn just handed me to. But you had mentioned the Legend. Had you seen anybody with that on the beach yet?
No, I watched a video by I forget the guy that was just out testing it for the first time. I did that today actually, and he seemed to be very impressed with it. The price is certainly right on it, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be. I've got those in stock. I've got plenty of those. I don't have the Pro Pack yet, the one with 2 coils, which that's going to be a hot seller too at their price point. Naka makes a good product, and with the multi-frequency, being able to hunt on the beach, it's going to be a very popular unit for folks. I haven't gone out in the field with it yet, but we did put one in together in the shop, and it's impressive too.
Yeah, the video I watched was from this Calabash guy, and he was in a park, and he was very impressed. He was pulling coins out, and you know, he seems to know what he's doing. You know,
Yeah, he's a big time relic hunter. I watch his videos. He slams a few of the other brands, so I never do that. You know, there's no perfect detector. The best we can hope for is a perfect detector for the person buying it. You know, pick the right one for them.
That's right.
So you can always pick apart a detector. You can find something to complain about. But the Legend, I think, is going to be a good unit, real good unit for folks.
Yeah, I think so too. I taught a class at a church group here. It was about 30 different people. It was for senior citizens, which was really kind of funny because I believe I was the oldest guy. Well, there was one lady who was 95 years old, but 3 of the ladies in that class bought metal detectors.
Oh, no.
You know, and I'm really pleased about that. And yet, you know, I'm going to try to take them to show them how to use these detectors. I don't know what they got yet. I didn't recommend anything. And I get a lot of people call me and want recommendations because I'm well known out there. And it's really kind of hard to, like you said, what works for me might not work for somebody else.
Right. And you know, some people don't want a Deus 2. They might just want a little a land detector, an Ace series or a Vanquish or something, or a Fisher, whatnot. But you know, guys like us who are serious about beach hunting, Deus 2 and the Legend and the Equinox, those are all good choices for that salt hunting. So I'm just glad there's more choices today than ever.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
For the basics, you need that multi-frequency. You have to have it.
Yeah, so you got multi-frequency goes really deep, and then most of these detectors, if you want to run them in single frequency on land or whatnot, you can do that if you need to. So, so you were using the regular Deus for your land hunting up north then?
I used it exclusively all last summer and did well with it. Did very well with it.
Yeah, and it's super light, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I've had 5 surgeries. I think people joke about my wild swing, and I'm getting better, but I do have a very banana swing. But when I'm into this stuff, I'm really going slow, and that coil is right on the ground. But it is light, and I use it up, with the Minnesota Beach Boys. They have a deal where you can actually make it. You can use it in water. You have to take the box and put it in a waterproof container around your neck, but it worked well. It worked real well.
Right.
Yeah, it does. It works very well.
Yeah.
Now, what coil did you run on your standard Deus?
It wasn't the way it was. That black one, I think it's a 10-inch.
It's either
a 9-inch X35 coil.
It could be that. It could have been that. I'm very happy with it. I was just actually, when I got out to that training post, I was just stunned. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was picking up,
I know. The 11-inch coil I've got on the Deus 2. Now, as soon as Phil gets them in, I'll have the 9-inch. Because I prefer the 9-inch coil myself, but then that's just my personal preference. So,
Yeah.
But, now, you'll be heading back to Minnesota probably in mid-May, you say?
Yes. Yep. May 6th is my birthday, so I need about a week to recuperate from that. I go into a blue funk and be real sorry when I realize how old I am. But
I know the feeling.
Well, yeah, it's kind of sad, but no, about the middle of May. We're quite a ways up north, and every year we get up there, the weather is just gorgeous, and we head home, and as soon as we get there, we get a little bit of a snow flurries like that again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they've had a terrible winter up there this year. Really a tough winter.
Well, everybody up there is still frozen solid. Now, are you going to fly home this time? Or are you going to drive?
I'm going to drive. I want to stop and visit some friends. I ended up buying a new car. I don't know, Phil, if you heard, I had a car accident on the way down here. A truck
Yes.
come behind and we were at 9:30 in the morning driving down the road, and it hit us from behind and totaled our car. But it's an actual blessing because Gene and I weren't hurt. We didn't have a scratch, but it totaled the car. And I couldn't rent a car. There was a 3-day wait to get a rental car. And so I ended up buying a used car and coming all the way down here with a used car and then traded in. I just got a new car now.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, we had a question from off Facebook from Dan Graham. He's asking if I have the bone conductive headphones. Not yet. They're ordered. Hopefully they'll be here soon. But all the accessories for the new Days 2 are pretty short supply right now. But I imagine within a few weeks they'll be rolling in big time. So Terry, your new book deals a lot with the Treasure Coast also, or is it just?
It starts out with the Treasure Coast. When I first come down this year, they replenished all the beaches, and this has probably been the worst year I've had, for detecting. I found a few, I probably only got 5 or 6 gold rings all winter long. But when I first started out, I did pretty good. I found an area that was washed out and did well. And the only shipwreck stuff I found until last week was I got one musket ball and a piece of pottery, old Spanish pottery that had washed in right where I was at. But the area I was down is an area called Turtle Trail, or it is the Corrigan Wreck, or not the Corrigan Wreck, but they call it the Corrigan Beach. And they're down there, hauling in sand by that. I should say it's truck, but they say about 6 feet of sand they're putting on top of everything. It just screws everything up. It is wrong. It's just dead wrong. Stupid.
Yeah, they pay all their money to pump all that sand in, and then it just makes its way back out again.
When we first started coming down here, our first year was in about 2005, and we seen a lot of porpoises, and the fishermen did much better. And what happened from replenishing the beaches, it washed out, covered up that first reef, and it killed the reef. And of course, then the fish, go out deeper to the next reef and that stuff. You don't see that stuff in close to shore anymore. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And I was interviewed on TV and about my opinions, and I was so eloquent it was just unreal. I was in rare form. I gave a bunch of very valid arguments again. The very last thing I said is, one of the things that irritate me, we've got about a 6-mile stretch down here, and we have no access to the beach, and yet we're paying to put that sand in. See, so at night we watch television. The only thing that they said is, well, Terry Shannon thinks he's upset because they don't have access to the beach. They didn't say a thing about the sand being turned. And the two positive comments on the sand is one thing to say, well, they cut the beach and they got these high dunes. Somebody could fall off and get hurt. I mean, that's really scientific when they've looked into that. And this year I was up north a little ways. It was a real warm day, and I was up, past the very wet into the dry. And I've got that new stealth scoop with a sharp point on it. I mean, that is a heck of a scoop. I could not dig into the dart. It was that hard. It was just hard gravel. The turtles aren't going to be able to dig in that stuff. I mean, that's just one area of the beach. It was up by the Air Force up there. Maybe they brought in some heavier stuff, but it was just terrible. It's just wrong.
So the scoop you're using is the Stealth 920i, the big one?
I think so. It's a big, I don't know what it is. It's a big one,
Yeah, I think you had a picture of it. Yeah, the one you got on your book here?
That's the 920.
Yeah, 920. 920i hybrid.
And these facts and that stuff like that, I'm a little poor in that. So that's why I got such poor grades in high school. There's so much escapes me. It's just unreal.
Yeah,
but it's a heck of a scoop. Oh, it's a wonderful scoop.
Yeah, that's the model I use, and the only difference is you've got that blue handle. I guess it's like a weed whacker pull handle on it, and I've got the Anderson on mine, like Jeff has on his.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Now, Terry, up north, when you go back to Minnesota, you'll be hunting the Ottertail River. Oh, there's a lot of, you found a lot of stuff there, but you guys will be hunting in some of the lakes as well, right?
I'm excited about the lakes, and my grandson is stopping by next week, and he sponsors a lot of concerts on the lake, and he's got a whole list of places where people party and stuff like that that he wants me to go to, and I've hit a lot of the local lakes, and I've done well over the years. But there's so many guys that got metal detectors. The competition's pretty clean, or pretty keen out there. And with this new hookah unit, I'm going to be able to go out to 10 feet of water, and I think that's going to open up a lot of areas.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But the river, I don't think I'll be able to get into the river. It almost dried up this year, but they've had so much snow up there. My neighbor that just left today, he said between our two houses, he has a snowbank that's about 25 feet high. From shoveling off the driveway and piling up as high as this scoop can get up. So all that snow is going to melt, and that river is going to be really some real current in there, and I won't be able to get into it until later.
Yeah, I was just going to say there'll probably be a lot of moving water.
Exactly.
There. But all the copper stuff that y'all are looking for, a lot of it's in the lakes, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's exciting. I did quite a bit of research on it. When I was writing the book, I had to do some stuff, and Europe could not provide enough copper for the Bronze Age. That goes way back. They make bronze out of copper and tin, and that's why they were, and on the Etosha, I had one of the fellows brought in a great big 35-pound ingot of copper from the Etosha, and I included a picture of me holding that for the book. And on the manifest, copper was listed before the gold and silver. And it was probably more valuable than the silver back then.
Yeah, probably had so many uses.
Yeah, it really did. And then you stop and think about, in 1943 during the war, our pennies for I think 2 or 3 years were steel pennies. They couldn't even put copper on the pennies. And when I was a county sheriff, I had a lot of people would break into a house or an empty house and just steal the copper. So copper has got quite a value. And, with that going way back, history isn't always what we've been told. There's a lot of things out there that we don't know. And, I'm not saying we can change history, but I think we can change the way we look at it. It's exciting. That's where I'm going to be right away, Jeff.
Well, yeah, I mean, the same thing. It's just like you were saying, Terry, you never even thought about, the Vikings and all this copper points and stuff that you and Alan have been finding. That just, completely new thing.
It just opens up everything. It really does. It's just going to be so exciting. And like I said, in my book, I say this is an adventure that has yet to happen, and it's going to happen. I'm going to find some of that copper stuff. And that's just exciting. When I was in school, I thought history was stupid. I mean, you got to worry about the future. Who cares what these old fellows did? Now it's just the opposite. History, we should be learning much more from
our history. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a comment here from Gary Gross, friend of the show, and a friend of mine, customer. We appreciated seeing Terry at Florida Hunt 8. It was amazing to see his collection up close.
I was invited up there. I had a ball. In fact, I just wrote a thank you. I think yesterday or something to the Florida 8 committee and that stuff. Because the more I thought about it, the more special that thing was. It was just a wonderful time.
Oh yeah, it's a good hunt and
for a good cause.
Good cause, absolutely.
So and that's important. Our veterans, they deserve everything we can do for them.
Absolutely, and I know you're one, and so is Jeff. So that's off to you guys.
Well, thank you.
So right now you're using the standard Deus, but in the future you're going to look for the Deus 2. And what hookah unit are you using? Are you using Blue Nemo?
No, I am one of the most luckiest men. I'm walking down the beach, and this guy walks up to me and he says, "Are you Terry Shannon?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And we started visiting, and he has a business where he repairs swimming pools and checks swimming pools for leaks there. And he said, "I make my own hookah units."
Oh, okay.
And he made me one. It's got it's really neat. That's too big to show you a picture of it, I suppose. It's sitting right beside me. But that hookah unit, I have all the dive tanks, and I'm a certified diver and all that sort of stuff. But the hook is just going to make so much more sense. I don't have to lug the camper, around.
Yeah. Is it yours is battery powered too, isn't it, Terry?
No, it isn't. It's well, yes, it is. It's a battery and a small motor in there, and it's a battery that you sent for. It's not a car battery. It's a much smaller unit, and I think it runs for like 8-9 hours. It's a long time anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this thing will do it. But it's
Oh,
got
yeah,
a
that's
50-foot
incredible.
hose, but you can only go down about 20 feet because I think the pump won't get enough pressure when you get down deeper.
Right, to give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sell the Blue Nemo, which is the same thing, battery operated one in the shop, and you can go 10 feet also. But I think the battery life on it is about an hour and a half on the battery.
But it's such a handy little unit. I mean, Alan's got one. Alan Carpenter, he's got one, and we were up there, and he brought along one.
Yeah, so you can get out in the water deeper than anybody else in the lake with that. So
Yeah, they're just, even the guys with the detectors, they're not going to go much more than chest high out there,
Right.
You go with Alan, and he's up to his neck right off the bat, but so that's just going to open up a whole bunch of areas for me. It really is.
Oh, yeah, because it hasn't been hunted, and there'll be a lot of jewelry out there because that's where the people are out there, swimming and playing and carrying on and all that kind of stuff. And even a lot of times, if they had like in a lake, they had the raft out there where people go and sit on the raft. And a lot of times, it's only 10, 11 feet deep underneath the rafts. And
We had that. I live on a lake in Minnesota, and on that lake we had a swimming raft, and it was there for years. They no longer have it out there, but it's not that far out. I mean, I used to swim out there all the time, and that was back in the 50s and that stuff. Anything you find there is going to be kind of some neat finds. The only problem there is that the lake is a shallow lake and a lot of weeds.
Right.
I'll figure out something.
yeah, you'll be able to go out deeper than you could walking. That's
Uh-huh.
the thing. I wanted to say hello to Mark Fiorella, and he said I was at your store today, and I hope he wasn't there today because I was closed today. But I'll be there tomorrow and Wednesday. And actually, I think Wednesday I got to close a little early because I got to at 2 on Wednesday, folks. So remember that. Don't come after 2 on Wednesday because I got a doctor's appointment. So hopefully, Mark, hopefully you weren't there today. Come see me tomorrow.
Yeah, he's from Buffalo, New York.
Oh, maybe he's down here on
He's been
vacation.
down in Venice though for the winter, which is still winter up there, Mark.
Is everything all right, Phil? It's where you said the doctor's appointment. It's just
Oh,
in South-
everything's good. But we just actually it's your Jocelyn's appointment. She's going back to see her knee surgery. One of these days she's going to get a new knee. It just hasn't worked out yet. So
And then we're all in trouble.
yes, she'll be able to chase me down.
It's because she can kick Heine and take names.
Yes, absolutely.
If she can get that knee up there. I tell you what, I'll come down, Phil, before she gets the surgery. Afterwards, you ain't gonna see me.
Oh goodness.
I've had both knees operated on. One I had replaced, and on the Treasure Coast, you get a little beep and you're checking it out, and if that detector comes close to my knee, it picks up the knee.
Now, how have you done walking in the sand with your knee replacement? Is that
I'm still doing. It hasn't affected me at all. Last year there was a huge cut, just a great big cut, and I went into this place and asked the guy if I could go through his yard to get down to it, and it probably about a 10-footer. I hung from the bottom step of his step, and then dropped down, and that worked well. I mean, I dropped down and everything was fine. Well, then when I got done, I had to get out of there. And so I ended up trying to dig my way out. You have to kind of dig a platform to stand on and then another one a little higher up. And when I got out, I could hardly walk. I mean, I was in so much pain. It was, apparently I tore the meniscus or something. So I had to have that operated on this last summer. And
I'm in good shape.
yeah, it's just sheer stupidity. My neighbor said, Terry, he said, you don't have to do that sort of stuff. And I said, yes, I do.
yeah, when you're a treasure hunter, you have to do those type of things, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Well, especially if you're a beach hunter and you see a cut like that, and you know that that's almost down to some of the original sand, there's no way. Even if you have to, jump off and tuck and roll, and throw the detector and the scoop down separately, you're going down there.
And sure am, and my only advice, down here in the Treasure Coast, when it's cold and you got a storm, and the waves are coming up, and I jump in too soon, don't stand right next to the cut, because when the waves come in, they hit the cut and go straight up. And and I always say it's better to get wet from the top down than from the bottom up. It just
Oh, geez.
they pay off. I mean, I've had a deal a couple of years ago that I called my wife at 8 o'clock at night. I said, I'm going to be late. Well, it's already pretty darn late. See? And I said, I'm really into this stuff. And she said, well, what do you find? I said, I have no idea. I can't see. It's dark. I didn't have a label, but there's no way I was going to leave. I left when I was just too tired. I couldn't move, and did really well. And then the very next day, went back to that same spot, and that's where we got those 5 reals, Spanish coins.
Nice. So the last good cut you had was last year then? Wasn't this year then?
Well, we had some this year, but nothing like that. I had the one right away when we came down, and then really had nothing that spectacular. I've had a couple what I call bowls, or actually riptides, where they waves kind of wash out, and those are always good. And I've got into a lot of coins, but I just have not found any Spanish coins this year at all. Nothing. The musket ball and the ship spikes.
Well, maybe with this weather pattern coming up this weekend, you might get an opportunity for that.
I'm hoping so. Hope
with the
springs eternal. And I'm right there. I've got a tremendous advantage over everybody else because I'm living right on the Treasure Coast. I can walk to it every day with well, I'm like 2 blocks away. And it's just a straight shot there, and I'm on it every day. So as I check the Treasure Coast, I've been there the day before. I can see right away if there's any changes in it. So it's a huge advantage for me.
Right. Yes, you're right there. So how many days a week do you hunt?
Just about every day. That one year, my wife said the only day I missed was Christmas. And I tell it that everybody that my wife on Christmas can get real ornery at you.
So, and how many hours a day average?
Okay, it depends on the tides. I try to get out there about 3 hours before low tide, and I follow the waves out. If you'll ever notice, if you're on the beach and there's kind of a slope down and the tide is going out, and there's a slope down on the beach, when that tide goes all the way out, that slope is no longer there. It has dropped enough sand that levels it off. So I follow the waves out, and you're going to get wet, but you're going to get down into areas that later on you're not going to be able to do any good with. See, but also and this is important. It took me a bunch of years to figure this out. But on the full moon, you get a very plus tide. It comes way up, and it also goes way out.
Right.
And the same thing happens on the new moon. In between, you don't realize you get the big plus and minus tides. You should watch those tide tables. And that the time when we found those 8 reals, every one of those coins were above the high tide line, laying right on top of the sand. I should every one, 4 of them were. One was, about an inch under the sand, but they were up above the high tide line. And I contribute to that surge coming in. That about every 7th or 8th wave or 10th wave, you get one big one comes right in. And it's always when you're right at the very out as far as you want to go. But it dawned on me that from that point on, as the full moon goes past, the waves aren't going to come up as far. And if you had a storm or something like that has done a lot of damage up high, you're going to have a 2-week window where that's not going to change. And when I figured that out after we found those coins, I ended up walking, a huge section of the Treasure Coast, I think, easy states, and really did well. And it was all up high. And out of all the Spanish coins that I found, there's only been, I think, 2 that I got right in the, right close to the edge of the water, and then about 3 or 4 that have been mid-beach, and the rest of the stuff was up high. They've got 300 years to get up there. And they're there. You just need the sand to wash them out. And the coins that were washed in, they're very black and beat up in color, and the ones that come out of the dunes are green, and they just look beautiful. They're in great shape.
Well, there's some rules along the Treasure Coast. I know Treasure Hunting with CZ Kid wanted to know kind of what the rules are for getting in the water along the Treasure Coast.
Well, your best bet, I think, is not to get in the water at all on the areas that they have the admiralty rights to. If it got really technically, I think these areas extend 300 yards from each side of the wreck or something like that. But there's so many wrecks, it's just all combined. But I which, ankle deep or something. I don't see anybody going to say anything. But as you get north of the Treasure Coast, about 5 miles, I think it's fair game from there on. And I don't know how it is down south. I don't go past, I pass Vero Beach very seldom, very seldom.
Yeah, I think just a little bit south of there, you're not supposed to really get in the water. But then, further than that, I think it's okay. It's just that certain area that they specifically call the Treasure Coast that they've got the admiralty rights to.
Yeah.
And yes, for the gals out west treasure hunting, we are talking about shipwreck treasures from the 1715 fleet. And Terry Shannon is the king of this Treasure Coast, the legend. He's found more 1715 fleet treasure than almost anybody except Mel Fisher.
No, that's not true, but I've done okay.
You've done very well on the beach. One of the top beach hunters for sure.
Yeah, it's been an experience, and it's just been wonderful. Years ago, my wife had surgery and was going to be laid up. This was many years ago, and we took a vacation. I had a small mini Winnie motorhome, and we traveled down the west coast. And then we got down as far as Alligator Alley, and I stopped to visit an old Navy buddy, and then we went across Alligator and come up A1A on the East Coast. And we stopped at the McClarty Museum. And I went in there and all that treasure in there. And I asked the ranger, I said, can you still find this treasure? And he went and he got a notebook. And he showed me this notebook, and people that have found stuff bring it into the museum. They take their picture and they go into that scrapbook. And I mean, I was just obsessed. I got to get into that scrapbook. And I finally made it. And then about a month ago, I was a guest speaker there at one of their functions at the McClarty Museum. I come from. So that was kind of a really honor. The McClarty Museum is what got me down here in the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, it's a really good museum. Yeah. So we got our banner going, Philip.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, I saw the banner going, and I know you. I guess, Jeff, I'll let you talk about the prizes.
Yeah, we have got, courtesy of Terry Shannon, we have got 3 of his books. All 3 of them. And I believe they are all autographed by the man and the legend, Ragnar Shannon.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
one each of his books. His new one's not out yet. And trust me, as soon as it comes out and is published, Phil will have them in stock.
Yes, I have the other 3 in stock.
Yeah.
And Terry was so gracious to sign them for me. So if you don't win tonight, you can always stop in the shop or call me, and we'll get one shipped out to you, and then I'll order some more from Terry.
Yeah.
So,
what we do is just like every other, we're going to have 3 winners tonight. And you had to enter either on the Facebook or YouTube. You have to be a member of Treasure Talk YouTube if you're going to enter on YouTube. And obviously on Facebook, if you're entering on Facebook at Treasure Talk, you are a member. But you have to be a member to win. You have to be tuned in to win. And you have to use a specific phrase that I stated. And this phrase that you had to use was Terry Shannon, the man, the legend. So I've gotten all 3 names drawn. You will have 3 minutes after your name is called, and I'm going to call all 3. You'll have 3 minutes to text or Facebook Messenger to Phil or myself at our phone numbers going along the bottom of the screen in the crawler. You'll have 3 minutes to text or messenger with your name and you are here. And then in order to get your book, you must email at treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen. All your information, name, address, telephone number, and we'll get you your book sent out to you courtesy of Terry Shannon and signed by Terry Shannon. So get your fingers ready, people. It's time. So as of and at 6:54, we're going to pick different names if you haven't texted or messengered Phil or myself. So Lisa P., you are a winner. D. O'Brien, you are a winner. And Robert Ridgway, you are a winner.
And somebody already texted me, said they were here, but that was before the names were drawn. So
yeah, some of them already they just trying to get lucky.
Yeah. So and the other thing they didn't do was put their name with their phone number when they texted me. So make sure you do that because we don't know who I am is. So they
That's
just
right.
they do that, and I know I saw some of those people on here tonight. So Terry, let's get back to chatting about treasure hunting. Um, why don't you give us some tips for people new to treasure hunting the Treasure Coast?
Well,
Put you on the spot.
I think the most important thing that you should do is visit with others. When I bought my first detector, I detected for a year, and then I joined the metal detecting club, and I learned more that first evening, than I did the entire year messing around on my own. So there's so many people out there that are glad to help. Visit with others, ask their advice on what detector to get. You know, if you're in any area, there's going to be a metal detecting club there. Go there at night as a visitor and talk to some of them. Then I think is
Yeah.
you get a good detector. Don't buy anything out of Walmart that costs a couple $100. I mean, you're going to have a big expensive ornament in your closet. And
Right.
last thing, on beach. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say Robert Ridgway is here. So
Okay. We're still waiting on D. O'Brien and Lisa P.
Okay, so go back to it, Terry. We're talking about tips for newbies, and you were saying to get a good detector, and I can help people out with that for sure, and point them in the right direction because we've got them in stock. But you were talking about your club. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, the club I belong to two, but one up in Minnesota and the Treasure Coast Archaeologist Society. If I could hold that up, we're having our annual hunt. This coming Saturday, and it's on Hobart Park. It just went to the 34th annual TCS hunt on the computer, and it'll give you directions to get there. I think the fee is $145, and it's a fun hunt. It's a seated hunt in Hobart Park. Lots of fun, and I think I've won maybe 3 or 4 detectors there, and I know that I've won at least three Spanish coins, reals. That's one of the prizes they got, and they give several Spanish reals away. And I know the first year I come to the Treasure Coast, I didn't find any, and I told my wife, I said the last chance I have is going to that hunt. Maybe I got to get a real, and it didn't happen. But the next year it did. But I also found a wild one too.
Yeah.
The clubs are very important. They really are. They can just help a lot, and the good detectors are very important. It really is. I mean, if your detector isn't operating properly, you're just not going to find stuff.
Right. If you don't have a good detector, the hunt on the wet salt sand of the beach, you're going to have a tough time hunting the Treasure Coast. And I just wanted you got quiet there when you were talking about your club hunt. The TCAS hunt is March the 12th, and it looked like it was at 9 a.m.
Yes, it starts at 9 a.m. And when they came with it just includes a dinner and that. There's going to be several people there, vendors there. There's going to be the warm-up hunt is going to be sponsored by the Fisher Museum. And I don't know what they're going to be giving away, but that's going to be a short hunt, and those prizes are going to be good. Then they have the other hunt, and then at noon they have what's called a pinpoint hunt. I won a detector on the pinpoint hunt last year. They have a dime on a board that's spring loaded, and it's got a little hole in the middle of the dime, and a pin goes up, and they put a paper over the top. You use your detector. You try to pinpoint that dime, make your mark, and then they push it down, and the pin comes right to the hit. And last year, I was lucky enough to win a detector. And then the big hunt is a lot of silver. They put a lot of silver out there, and also a bunch of tokens for these, not only for the reals, but there's a ton of other prizes.
Yeah.
Everybody goes away with something, and everybody has a great time.
Okay, well, we're going to draw a couple more names because D. O'Brien did not respond. Neither did Lisa P. So, Country Diggers, if you are in the house, you just want a book. So, text or messenger, either Phil or myself at our numbers. And Steve Kunder.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you, Jeff, I saw some messages on Facebook the time's up. Draw the next name. I guess
Yeah, I
they're
see.
real anxious about getting that book. And just remember, folks, if you're not the winner, we have them in stock, so we can help you out with that. So awesome. Yeah, the the pinpointer hunt, our club does one of those too. And for the folks who don't know, the Tampa has the West State Archaeological Society, and we've been lucky enough to have Terry come over and speak at our club and bring part of his collection over and speak. And I know he's also spoke at the club across the bay, the Suncoast Research and Recovery Club. And those are my favorite meetings when he's come and spoke. So thank you for doing that, Terry. I know everybody gets a lot of info out of it. And that was a good comment you mentioned with clubs learning from other people. When you're around a group of treasure hunters, everybody wants to help each other find more stuff. And you do learn a lot of stuff at clubs. Wouldn't you agree?
And another benefit is, and the club, you're going to have a bunch of new friends.
Yes.
And that's huge. And then I guess the last tip I would say on the beach anyway is learning to read the beach. Get out, don't be afraid to walk, look for them lower areas. And that's the key, the big key. Stuff moves up and down the beach. You don't have to be at the most popular beaches to find stuff. I've done much better, in areas that I'm the only one out there, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, let's reiterate, country diggers, if you are in the house, you must text or messenger to get your prize with your name and that you are here. And the same thing for Steve Kunder. You've got about a minute and a half left. Otherwise, I'm going on to new names.
Absolutely. So now give us some tips for people hunting on the dirt.
Okay. I think the biggest thing on hunting on the dirt, is research. There again, you're not going to find anything if anything isn't there. And do your research. When I do it, I'm a talker. I like to tell stories and stuff like that. And back in Minnesota, I go to the retirement centers and give presentations, and it's just a win-win-win thing. These people are shut in, and they, they're really entertained. You go in there and you give your little presentation. You see some of my treasures. And every time somebody will invite me out, we go out to our farm, or you talk to so-and-so, and it gives me pointers of where to go. And one of the things I mentioned in my book is if you're detecting yards and you're detecting parks and that stuff, don't use one of these big shovels. It gives the impression that you're out there digging a whole bunch of holes. You can do that on the beach, and you can do that out in the forest and stuff like that, or the fields. But where a lot of people around, use your knife, get down like you really care, and you should care. Leave it better than you found it.
Absolutely. I always say when I'm yard hunting, I'll use my little digger and a pinpointer. But if I'm on the beach, I'm not using a pinpointer. I can get that with my hand and my big scoop quicker than I could if I pulled that pinpointer out. Do you use a pinpointer on the beach?
No, I don't. I have one in the car, and there's been several times I wish I had it because I got a hole about 2 foot wide and wonder where it's at. But I normally don't carry it. I normally can pinpoint it and get it off, especially with that big scoop.
Yeah, if you're in somebody's yard, I'll use that pinpointer. But on the beach, I don't take mine anywhere near it. I just don't.
I go to extremes on the yard. I actually carry a long towel, and I cut the plug in a horseshoe shape, and then fold it over, take the dirt out, and put it on the towel. And if you cut the plug in a horseshoe shape, it doesn't kill the roots, and it won't turn brown. And I've had a guy watch me one time who walked out and invited me over to his place.
Yeah, if you're doing a neat job, then people are impressed.
Yeah,
And this is a nice little towel here that we have that you could put on your belt and use that to put dirt on. I'm gonna send you one of those, Terry.
That would be greatly appreciated. I use my wife's beach towels and I cut them in pieces.
He's not gonna like that. So
No, she doesn't.
How are we doing over there, Jeff?
Did you get a text?
Doesn't look like I got anything.
Country diggers say they texted. I did not get it.
Let me just make sure. Maybe they sent it to me, but I'm kind of. Let me see. Robert Ridgway's the only one I got.
Okay, well, she said that country diggers said that they texted, so you better do it again because you got about 30 seconds left. And I'm going to go ahead and call another name. Janine Patterson. you got the third book. If you're here, you know the drill.
Yeah.
Well, Country Digger says she texted me. I did not get a text. Redo it.
Okay. All righty. So anyway, like I said, folks, if you don't win, you can always pick it up at the shop, or we can mail it to you either way. Yeah, I don't see it, Jeff. So I'm sure they'll figure out how you hear. Oh, you must be watching her on YouTube. Is that what you're doing, or Facebook?
I'm watching it on everything.
Okay. Yeah, just tell her to call right in the middle of the show. That's always fun.
Yeah. Now she knows better than to call.
Oh goodness. Oh, it's so hard sometimes. This technology drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But tonight's
Okay.
show was
She's here. She's good.
all right. So we got our winners, and it looks like we're at that bewitching hour. It looks like we ran over, but that's okay.
That's all right.
So Terry, I wanted to thank you because you're always one of our top guests on the show here, and hopefully we can get you back over the metal detecting club too. But now you said you go back home in May.
Yes, in May, and I'd be glad to come over anytime. I always have a good time, and I thank you too. I appreciate being invited to be on your show, and I got a lot of respect for the two of you.
Yeah. So be sure when you get the new book printed that you call me, or we'll order some of them because I know I'm going to need some of the other ones too. So
I think it's going to be a good book, and it should be about I haven't sent it into the printer yet, but I've got the book, the cover's done. I've got the book all written, and we're just proofreading it right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I want to say thank you, Terry. Thank you, Jocelyn, and thank you, Jeff. Jocelyn for handing me all the questions, and Jeff for running the show here and keeping everybody straight on their prizes and doing all you do. And also thank you to our, I guess, 5,000 Facebook members and thousands of YouTube folks that we have going here.
Yeah, we do. We're doing good.
Doing this. So thanks, guys.
Yep, we thank everybody. And Terry, we thank you, Ragnar. You are always very special to us. You know that. And tell Jean we think about her all the time. I know Jocelyn says hello to Jean. Susan says hello to Jean. So we're thinking about her all the time. And you. And we just thank you so much for donating the books that these people are going to absolutely love after they send their emails with their information. Because if they don't send them, I ain't sending them. I'm old. I can get away with being irascible. So anyway, Terry, we want to thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you soon before you head back up north. But if not, we'll be talking at you real soon. And thanks for stopping by tonight. We appreciate it.
I'm going to give you a call as soon as Alan shows up. We'll give you a call and we'll visit a little bit. And I thank you again. I thank all the people that are tuned into the show. It's just a wonderful time and it's a wonderful hobby. So
Absolutely.
It is indeed. And we appreciate it. So with that, I think it's time for us to sign off. And everybody, thanks for joining us. We sure do appreciate it because without you, we wouldn't have anything to do on Monday nights. So thank you so much. Happy hunting, digging deeper.
Yes, happy hunting, dig deeper, friends.
And make sure you're here for Treasure Tales on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to have Discovery Daisy and what's the other one? We Dig It, a family that digs together. So it's going to be an interesting show. So stop in and see us on Thursday night at 8 p.m. So good night, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
God bless.
Happy hunting, guys. Dig